If you had $100,000 to invest 20 years ago, would you put it in Toronto real estate or the S&P 500? Let's break it down. Starting with the S&P 500. Over the past 20 years, it grew at an average annual return of about 10.7%. That means your $100,000 would have grown to roughly $835,000 today, though. Keep in mind, stocks outside registered accounts are taxed, which can reduce your real return. Now, Toronto real estate. Imagine buying a $500,000 home with $100,000 down and a $400,000 mortgage. The home appreciated at about 5% per year. Of course, there are costs: land transfer tax, legal fees, realtor fees when you sell, and annual maintenance or property taxes. We assume 1% of the home value every year for maintenance. Here's an important assumption. When you bought the house, the total mortgage payment, including both principal and interest, was roughly equal to the rent you would pay for a similar home. That means the interest isn't counted as a loss, because you would have been paying rent anyway. After accounting for all costs, but including the mortgage principal, which you get back when you sell your $100,000 investment, would have grown to about $984,000. In other words, leveraged Toronto real estate seems to overperform the S&P 500 in both net gain and annual growth. The net annual growth rate, or CAGR, comes to roughly 12.3% compared to the S&P 500's 10.7%. Of course, this wouldn't have worked the same way if the mortgage payments due to high interest rates or a larger loan were greater than the rent you would otherwise pay. In that case, the interest would have been a real cost and could have reduced returns significantly. Another advantage of a primary home is that it's tax-exempt when you sell, unlike stocks outside registered accounts. This tax treatment can have a meaningful impact on real return over time. But stocks do offer liquidity and flexibility. Investing $100,000 in stocks means you could have accessed the appreciation to buy a house later, say, after 5 or 10 years using registered accounts, like an RRSP under the First-Time Homebuyer Program, or the new FHSA, so you don't have to tie up all your funds in real estate immediately. Real estate also isn't as liquid as stocks, and there are always risks like market downturns or unexpected repairs. Still, this example shows how leverage, combined with long-term appreciation, smart planning, and favorable tax treatment, can make real estate a powerful wealth-building tool. So whether it's stocks or real estate, understanding costs, leverage, taxes, liquidity, and long-term growth is key to smarter investing.